7.86 lakh healthcare workers have been vaccinated till now. Ministry of Health and Family Welfare says no serious or severe AEFIs have been reported. AEFI is adverse events following immunization, but on 5th day 82 AEFIs were reported. But remember, there are different categories of AEFIs, and governments say there hasn't been any severe or serious adverse event following immunization. My name is Arun Singh. Today, we discuss allergies and COVID vaccination. For your information, the show is called FYI. If you have allergies to certain food items or medicines, what should you keep in mind? That is what we discuss with our experts as well. We have FYI post on our social media platforms as well. You can drop in your queries by the end of this show. Let me quickly introduce our panel of experts joining us on the show today. Dr. Sarman Singh, Director, AIIMS, Bhopal. Professor Dr. Anita Ramesh Chandra, Specialist in Clinical Trials, Professor and Head, Medical Oncology, Savitha Medical College, and Senior Medical Oncologist, Apollo Specialty Hospital, Chennai. Dr. Rakesh Verma, Additional Director General of Health Services, Government of India. Dr. Vivek Nangia, Principal Director and Head, Respiratory Critical Care Medicine, Max Saket. Warm welcome to each one of you. I want to begin with Dr. Sarman Singh here by asking a very basic question. AEFI, government has been putting data out. How do you see AEFIs related to COVID vaccination? By the way, while we discuss all of this, we'll be considering two vaccines here, which is Covaxin and Covishield, two vaccines which have been authorized to use for emergency use here in the country. So, Dr. Singh, how do you see the AEFI data coming out of this COVID vaccination regime that we've started?
All vaccines, they have some adverse events. They are usually milder in nature, and they can be, as less as 5% to as high as 30%. The major concern is serious side effects or the adverse events which sometimes may lead to death. They are very, very, very rare. And to best of our knowledge and literature review, these are not reported in these vaccines. But the adverse event in the milder form, that is, local reaction, allergy, fever, palpitation, this kind of, adverse events are well known. And they do happen in all vaccines, particularly corona vaccine. If you see the Pfizer, if you come rather, because you said that we are talking only about the Covishield and Covaxin. But if you compare the Pfizer and Moderna, they have also, up to 30%. So all vaccines they have and these adverse events are not because of the active component, that is virus or virus particle or virus gene or virus protein, but basically the medium, what they have, either preservative or the inactivating, like Covaxin has one chemical which inactivates the virus, and Covishield has obviously the another virus, adenovirus. So these are the components which may lead to some of the adverse events, and which are usually mild and sometimes maybe moderate, like high grade fever, but very rarely they are so serious that they require hospitalization or intensive care or death may lead. But these are so far, they are very difficult to document also, and they are so far not documented in any of these vaccines.
Right. Before we talk about specific allergies or specific allergens also, when we talk about the composition of these vaccines, let me get a quick perspective from each one of you on how do you see the AEFI's data coming out of the COVID vaccination program that is running in our country. Dr. Anita Ramesh, how do you see this? So on 5th day, as I said, 82 AEFIs were reported, and till now 7.86 lakh healthcare workers have been vaccinated. So how do you see the data?
Yes, Arun, a very pertinent question at this point of time. Now, 7.8 lakhs is quite a big number on the first 2 days. Now 580 AEs. Okay, now let me just, before I start, I just want to give the definition of AE, SAE, AEFI. That is, now if you see SAE, whenever there is any reaction to a vaccine or a drug which leads to death, prolonged hospitalization, incapability, some congenital abnormality, life-threatening condition is called SAE. As far as India is concerned and the two vaccines are concerned, there is no SAE. There were 2 deaths, but it has not been proven it is because of the vaccine. One of the patient was already unwell, and I want to convey to the public, please, if you are not well, don't take the vaccine in a rush. So these SAE, there was no SAE basically. Let's see the definition of AE. AE means it is something less than SAE. It's not life-threatening. It does not need hospitalization. There can be mild symptoms which can be graded as grade 1, 2, 3 and 4. 4 might need hospitalization, short stay, immediate recovery, come home. Now, out of the 580 adverse reaction which is seeing, most of them are grade 1 and grade 2. They are just fever, pain at the injection site. Some had nausea, some had little bit giddiness, some had vomiting. Only 7 patients had hospitalization, but that was a short stay and discharge. So that puts into grade 3. So majority is grade 1 and 2. Very less, as my other colleagues said, less than 5% is grade 3 and grade 4. And there was no SAE till now documented as per the vaccine is concerned. So that gives us a very important aspect to talk, and I just wanted to comment on the 2 deaths, whatever is available in the public domain. One of the patient was not well who went to UP to take the vaccine. Son reported to them, and later on he died because of cardiopulmonary failure. So I would like to say that if you are not well, and also to all the vaccination center, like I do a lot of clinical trials, if the patient is not well who walks into your OPD to take the new trial drug, wait, don't give it. We are not in a hurry. He should be in a good general condition to take the vaccine. Don't give the vaccine. Even he may be a healthcare worker. Let him recover, come back in a week's time. So please wait. So that particular patient might not have, not related to vaccine, must have died because his own medical problem.
Death comes under the serious AEFI category, and Ministry of Health and Family Welfare says there hasn't been any single serious or severe AEFI reported from the vaccination program. Dr. Verma, how do you see this? No red flags for now. Dr. Verma, if you can hear me, how do you see this?
No, please repeat your question now. I was not able to hear you earlier.
Sure. So, of course, let me move on to the next question. So, here, Dr. Anita has actually given us different categories also of AEFI. I also want to come to you asking about what is the difference between an allergic reaction and a side effect of the vaccine. These are 2 different things, right?
See, it's a very pertinent question you asked. But I must assure the country, citizen of this country, that Honorable Health Minister, Honorable Minister of State and Honorable Health Secretary have taken all caution that before they introduce the vaccine to the general consumption, general utilization, general inoculation, that the medicines in the term of the vaccine is very, very safe. And I wish through you to congratulate the team of scientists who have developed this vaccine. You see, in this last 1 week itself, more than 7 lakh people have been inoculated. 7 lakh is a very, very large number. Imagine in a cinema hall, it's a capacity of 800 people. And a marriage procession and marriage party, there are only 300 people. Out of 8 lakh people, not a single reaction has been reported. So we must congratulate our scientists, our manufacturers for doing such a wonderful job in such a short span of time. Now, coming to the query whether what is the difference between a side effect and a allergic reaction. Whenever body comes across any foreign particle, whether in the form of a drug, an injection, or any other allergen, like in pollen, or whether in the month of March you do a lot of pollen in the atmosphere, body reacts to it. Sometimes it overreacts. The overreaction is what is known as allergy, which is not common in all 100% people. If 100 people take one particular medicine, irrespective of this vaccine, about 2 to 3% may develop allergy to this. Public memory is short, but we as a cardiologist have always remembered, before we give a penicillin injection, your parents and elder people will tell you, the hospital will always take a test dose on your forearm. So that is for testing the allergy. A lot of antibiotic people are allergic. People are allergic to food. A lot of people are allergic to egg. Some people are allergic to mushrooms.
Right.
Like I myself, I've been allergic to egg proteins. I can't take it. If I take it, I develop a bleb on my lip. So that is allergy is over response to a normal thing. Over response to a normal stimulant. That is what is known as allergy. However, what is side effect? Suppose I take a painkiller medicine and it relieves my pain but gives me some heartburn, some ache in my stomach. That is a side effect of the medicine. So side effect could be possible in more than 30% patients, but allergy is only 1 to 2% patients. So that is the difference between a side effect and an allergy. But I must assure you again that
okay, very well explained there.
Successful. This has been absolutely successful
Okay, now
experiment and utilization, and through you, I want to allay the fear of all our citizens that these two vaccines which are available today and more could be in the pipeline are very, very safe. One can very confidently take them, but take both the doses. And in the meanwhile, do not give up the precaution that is essential. That is social distancing, use of mask, cleaning the hands thoroughly, as many times as possible. When you come across any new person.
So that is what we have this show for, to address the fears. My next question to Dr. Nangia here. Now let's talk about the specifics of the show, the focus of our show, which is the allergies. So definitely there are few concerns. The vaccines that we are talking about here are Indian vaccines, the vaccines which are allowed for emergency usage here in India, Covaxin and Covishield. So can patients with skin allergies take the vaccine is my basic question, Dr. Nangia.
So when there is a skin allergy, that means they could be allergic to so many things. It could be cosmetics, it could be dust, it could be certain other chemicals that are coming in contact with the skin. So one will have to be careful. One, that you'll have to ensure that the site where the injection is to be given, that is absolutely clean and free of allergy. A proper allergy history will be required to see that what all are they allergic to. Egg protein, especially if they're allergic to, then one may have to avoid giving the vaccine. And if there's any specific allergy to any of the components of the vaccine, the specific vaccine, then one will have to avoid it. Otherwise, I see no reason to avoid the vaccine.
Right. While we are having this discussion, there will be text flashed of the composition of both these vaccines, Covishield and Covaxin. And that brings me to our next question to Dr. Sarman Singh here. Are there any ingredients which are common in India to have allergic reactions reported from citizens? I mean, my point is, are there any common allergens in any of these ingredients?
They are not common, but of course, in the Covaxin, if we say the virus is cultured in the vero cell line, which are tissue cell line, what we call. And after culturing the virus, which obviously these cell lines, they require the culture medium, which has many chemical components. And then after culturing, the virus is isolated, and after washing, of course, it is washed multiple times, but still maybe some components are there. And then it is inactivated when, a chemical, what we know as BPL or beta propiolactone. So this compound is reported to have very mild sometimes, and it is used in very mild concentration, about 0.4%, to be very precise. And sometimes this chemical might have some allergic reactions, and sometimes because in the medium where the culture of the virus is made in the tissue cell lines. So some components, if it is not washed, it can have, but obviously these companies are so huge companies and they have extensive experience. They have been making vaccines. So I don't think that, that is any possibility of remnants of the culture medium.
Right.
But of course, the beta propiolactone, which is used for inactivation, and that is still in the vaccine part, so that might lead to the another vaccine, which is Covishield. What we can say, Covishield is also it is a vaccine where another virus, what we call adenovirus from the chimpanzees, which is a harmless virus. So the gene of the coronavirus is put in the virus. So that sometimes these, like any other virus, one can have a milder reaction to the adenovirus. Obviously not because of the corona, but adenovirus is the carrier. So some of the allergic people, there are some people, those who are producing very high level of IgE, which is an allergic, response in our body. So some of the people, they might have this, but this, as everybody said, and I earlier also I said, these reactions are very mild in nature, as earlier panelist also said that grade 1 or 2. Usually, you will not find very serious kind of adverse events in these, even though components are there.
Okay. Dr. Anita Ramesh, let's look at it from the Indian context. We have these two vaccines. We know the composition, and those who have allergies from certain salts or certain medicines know what that is. So they will, of course, look at the composition of it. But again, same question to you as well. Are there any common allergens here when we talk about the composition of these two vaccines?
Yes, see, as far as allergy is concerned, by simple layman's definition, whenever you introduce any foreign material into our body, the body starts producing T cell, B cell, natural killer cells and antibodies against it. And these three, they release cytokines, and that's why you get the swelling, the pain, the fever, the malaise, the nausea, because of the release of cytokines of the immune reaction. Now, this vaccine is also a foreign material, but it is deactivated in both the Covaxin and Covishield. Now, if a particular person has allergy, maybe skin allergy, food allergy, cold allergy, drug allergy, allergies are of 7 or 8 types. So, in such a case, in these particular patients, what we need to do is that, similarly, in this patient, when a vaccine, any foreign material comes into the body, a similar type of allergic reaction will be produced. So, my point to the viewers, if you have allergy, for the time being, don't take any of the vaccines. Though we know that Indian vaccine both are safe, they are inactivated and they have minimum allergic reaction. But as on today, till we have much data, allergic patients wait for some more time till we have more data against the vaccine. That's what I would say.
Okay, currently we are in the phase 1 of the vaccination program, but in phase 2, there will be senior citizens also vaccinated. The reason that we have is Prime Minister Narendra Modi is also scheduled to be vaccinated in the second phase. My question to Dr. Verma here, can we expect to see different AEFI figures when we are into the second phase? Because here we are vaccinating healthcare workers who might be on some existing immunization program, or they might have different immunity here. But when we talk about general citizens or senior citizens or people with comorbidities, do you think we'll have different AEFI figures?
Why should we have? In today's era, these phases have been divided in a way to protect, not to discriminate.
Okay.
The phase 1, phase 2 and phase 3 is for uniform dissipation of the vaccine across the country. India is a populous country of more than 130 crores. So unless government had designed a program, and you see the efficacy of this program, Honorable Health Secretary and Health Minister Saab are devoting full time on this, so that there is no disruption in supply, there is no quest, no confusion, and everything is very streamlined. The phases were decided only to consider who are at maximum risk. You must remember, India had lost more than 800 senior doctors while they were treating the COVID patients. We have lost nurses, we have lost paramedics while they were treating the COVID patients. So they had to be protected first. Police people, paramedics and paramilitary people, those who came in support, so they were to be immunized first. Secondly, the person who have a comorbid like diabetes, high blood pressure, cardiac problems, age above 55 or 60 years, they have to be immunized in second phase. So that phases are decided on that count. And I do not expect any excess allergy at all. What we have seen is already maximum and very limited. Nowhere in the world has such a wonderful vaccine ever been produced. So please, through the channel, I really want to reassure the citizens of this country that these vaccines are very harmless, very efficacious, and there is no question of any bad effect coming at all. But before you take vaccine, Obviously,
Right.
the doctor examines you, paramedics examines and see that you don't have an allergy, the blood pressure is
addressed
all
skin allergies a few minutes back. I'd like to go to Dr. Nangia here. Now let's talk about the food allergies. Someone on our social media platform asked, can I take the jab if I am lactose intolerant?
Yeah, there's no component of lactose in these vaccines, in either of the two vaccines. So I don't think there should be any problem in taking the vaccine then.
Okay. Dr. Sarman Singh, we were talking about the phase 2 and AEFIs. So how do you see it? Again, the same question that I asked Dr. Verma here. Again, he's been reassuring people to not hesitate. And we've seen certain healthcare workers hesitating when it comes to the inoculation drive in the phase 1. But do you see that AEFI data will change or will reflect something else when we get into phase 2, which will be a bigger population?
I think there are two components in this. One is, of course, the AEFI, and one is the changes in the figures what we have. The second phase, of course, this is advisory from government as well as the vaccine makers, that those people, those who are having allergic tendencies for drugs, they should not take it. So they should not take blindly, should not be given to anybody, particularly the Covaxin. The manufacturers also, they have said that those who are having allergic tendency, they should not take it, they should avoid it, irrespective of the age. And particularly now coming to the second phase, of course, these figures will be different. That is there. The reason being that if the second dose world over, all vaccines, they have been shown that once you are giving the booster dose, you will have different data. And this has been in the Pfizer, it has been in the Moderna, it has been in other vaccines also.
Right.
Everywhere, because the reason is that immune system, our boosting of the immune system takes place. So people will have little more adverse events, but these are harmless. Again, as I say, that they may have more fever, maybe lasting for maybe few more hours or maybe 2 days. The fever, the peak may be little more. They can have pain at the injection site. They can have more, other kind of thing, but palpitation, the anxiety, and that kind of things will be less. So definitely, in the second phase, when the second dose is given, that is the booster dose, obviously the data will be little different. It is not true that it will have, but that is expected line. Number two, in the age is not that important, because the allergic tendency of the person is more important rather than age. Some of the people, if they are having cardiac events or some tendency or anxiety tendency, this depends on the personality. So these people are also, they need to be counseled, because anxiety usually, because lot of things are going on, the misinformation, correct information, wrong information, all kind of things are happening. So sometimes when you are injected, obviously anxiety level is very high, and if the person is having some cardiac or some tendency, hypertension or something like, they should be counseled. It will be better for the program as well as for the person. So that's what I wanted to convey to you.
Thank you so much, Doctor. With this, I would also like to thank each one of the panelists here. That's all the time that we had today. We addressed the COVID vaccination precautions for those with allergies. We also spoke about AEFIs, and we see the way ahead with this. My name is Arun Singh. That's all the time we had for FYI. It's a goodbye from my side.